All I have to say, thank God it doesn't smell like every other freaking men's designer fragrance. I'm speaking about Hermes H24, and I'll tell you all about it coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. This is one I've been anticipating, although when I first saw the visuals, the images of the bottles, I thought, what a boring looking bottle. Why does it remind me of the late 90s, early 2000s? But anticipating it, I finally got it several days ago, and I quite enjoy the smell. It is actually smelling really great and totally original for a men's designer fragrance. It's original enough that it's unique to wear that I actually want to smell it, and also not overly unique that you don't want to smell it, or wear it. And it goes down pretty fast, unfortunately. As you can see, this is only 4 days, and that's how much I've already used up, and I quite like the smell. So anyway, I'll let you know all about this, but before I do, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So I don't think Hermes has had an actual official men's fragrance launch, a brand new one, since 2006 when they first launched Terre de Hermes. They've launched men's fragrances since then, but they have been flankers and things like that. So this is a pretty brand spanking new fragrance for them for going on, at least 15 years is when Terre de Hermes came out. And I actually rushed out to get Terre de Hermes back in 2006 as well. So a little connection between this one and Terre de Hermes. They're both kind of on the earthy side. There's a lot of earthiness with this particular fragrance, and when I compare it to the other one as well, to Terre de Hermes. So I quite like this. And as Hermes as a house for me is not one of the houses I kind of associate them with, like Dior or Chanel or something. But I have to be honest, I should take that back, because they really do have some unique offerings as fragrances, and it's quite original to have a release like this, because when every other brand is copying one another to have their fragrance smell like one another, here comes something that's totally original that I have not smelled in a men's designer release yet. So this is exciting for me, and hopefully it is for you guys as well. So Hermes H24 Eau De Toilette is a 2021 launch. The perfumer is Christine Nagel. She's been working there for a few years now. I believe she replaced Jean-Claude Elena. I would call this a woody aromatic or woody spicy. 100 ml bottle like this is $105, and the notes are Sclarene, Clary sage, Rosewood, Narcissus. So this is all the notes that they credit in this fragrance. Sclarene is a metallic note, has a very metallic touch to it. So Clary sage obviously is very aromatic. It's been, prominent in men's fragrances for some time. Rosewood, and then the Narcissus flower, which is a very, very unique flower, not necessarily appearing frequently in fragrances. So overall, I feel like this is definitely unique in not only the notes, but as a smell as well. It would make sense that they're using these kind of unique notes to give us a very unique smell. But what do I get with this one? So first of all, I'm getting lots of grapefruit. I don't know where the grapefruit is coming from, but there is a very juicy, citrusy touch to it. More of a zingy, grapefruity, or yuzu, or pomelo-like citrus rather than lemons or oranges or lime or bergamot or things like that. So there's lots of juiciness in here that I'm picking up that they're not crediting. And as I said, it does smell very zingy, spicy citrus like grapefruits. But once we get past that, it's an overly green fragrance and very, very metallic. But it's the kind of metallic that is not sharp, cuts through your nose, It's a very, very tolerable metallic. More earthy metallic to me rather than like something being sharp and hitting your nose and you're being caught off a little, fast and a little off-putting there. It's not that kind of metallic to me, which I quite like, because sometimes metallic fragrances can be overly sharp and a little off-putting. This is definitely not that. For me, as I said, it's more minerally, earthy, metallic, rather than like the sharp metallic. But The other thing I get with this one is Petrichor. It reminds me of earth, like just before it rains. The Petrichor kind of smell that picks up. It reminds me a little bit of Bay 19 from Le Labo. Not a lot, but a little bit. But for me, I always found Bay 19 to be a little challenging, even for Le Labo. This is not identical. It has hints of that whole Petrichor earth thing. And it's definitely, I think, very, very prominent here in this particular fragrance. Now, those are all the great things about it. There are fragrances that you wear and you don't want to keep wearing it, you know? It's not original. You've smelled it before, and when fragrance houses release fragrances that has been done over and over and over again, it's like, why bother giving us something that I've already smelled 100 other times, if not 1,000? Give me something new. And Hermes totally has given us something completely new. And as I said, totally new for the genre of men's fragrances from designers, because I feel like this is totally original when you do put it in there. Of course, as I said, I've smelled it in the niche world, but it's totally unique for designers. But I like it. I really, really like this fragrance, and I'm going to tell you some negatives. But before I get to the negatives, another thing is, deep down under there, it doesn't really too much, but it does lightly hint at the Hermes DNA. I feel like Hermes fragrances have a DNA. You can totally pick it out in a lot of their fragrances, not all of them, but this definitely has it. But for me, here comes the negative. It's so light that the DNA is also very light, so it's really hard to notice. And because of the intensity of this fragrance, it's not that intense. That's why it keeps going down so fast, because it's very, very light. That's the very first negative about this fragrance. It's a sad thing because I want to smell it more, you know, more intensely, and I wanted to experience it a little more, you know, dramatically on me, but it's just not that. I feel like making this an Eau De Toilette in this lightly concentration, it's definitely more mass appealing, because generally I think Eau De Toilettes for men are the ones that most people that don't really are, you know, like so heavily into fragrances, or just, you know, going to a counter and buying a fragrance, are probably going to buy an Eau De Toilette. So I feel like this is a sales thing where they'll actually end up with more sales if they give the, you know, the market or the consumers something a little lighter where they can easily appreciate it, rather than something more intense, and it might be a little more off-putting, because it is a totally unique scent, and I'm not sure how successful this will be as a unique scent like this, but the fact that they've given us an Eau De Toilette will appeal to more people, rather than giving us something a little more intense in this particular fragrance. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So that's pretty much my only negative about this fragrance. The other negative, it is definitely more of a complaint, is the fact that the bottle seems a little unoriginal, uninspired, and kind of like a throwback to some bottles that I've already experienced with in my journey of fragrances throughout the many years I've enjoyed them. So this was kind of a disappointment as far as a bottle goes. So did they not think twice about it? I don't know why, but obviously since we have a metallic fragrance, they do have that metal part about it on top. And yes, it kind of looks a little bit like Terre de Hermes, because Terre de Hermes has that metal part on top as well. So maybe they were kind of like trying to not do a bottle similar to the Terre de Hermes series, and they came up with something like this. But they should know, I mean, people that they contract out to, you know, to design bottles and things like that should know the history of bottles. This to me reminds me of Dunhill's bottles from the early 2000s that I wore. I think one of them was called Dunhill Desire. It's been a while. I haven't spoken about those fragrances forever, but it kind of hints at that series of bottles. So that part is not original. Very, very unoriginal. I would have wanted to see something a little more original, because the scent itself is very original, but we have an original scent, but we don't have an original bottle. Makes sense? So that's the disappointing part about this fragrance, unfortunately, sadly. But you know what? That's just a complaint more than anything. I guess I should ask you guys, what do you guys think about the bottle? Does it look great to you, or does it seem a little boring? Let me know, put a comment down so I can find out. So moving forward and into the coming years, I don't know how fast Hermes will make an Eau de Parfum or a Parfum version, because Terre de Hermes has the Eau de Toilette, they have a pure perfume, they have the Eau Très Fresh version, and then they have the intense vetiver version. So there's 4 versions of that. Let's see how fast they give us a more intense version of this, because I can only see what they're going to do with it, intensify some of the notes, which I think I might enjoy a lot more than this. I mean, I love the smell. As I said, this smell is very, very unique and original for a designer, and it definitely is in line with Terre de Hermes and their aesthetic with the earth and earthiness and things like that with their other fragrances. I just feel like the fragrance is a little on the light side, so I do get to overspray it because I want to enjoy that smell, and here it is. That's how much I've used up in 4 days. Longevity wise, I don't usually like to talk about longevity because all bodies are different. I could say something is overly strong and then somebody comes back to me and says it doesn't last on them, and then vice versa. So I don't usually tend to talk about it, but it does tend to last as a skin scent, but it's minimalistic. So there is that whole factor about the fact that this is a little on the minimalistic side as a fragrance. But as a smell, it's fantastic. I really love the smell. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Hermes H24. What are your thoughts about H24? Have you sampled it yet? Are you curious to try it? Do you enjoy the fragrances of Hermes? Let me know. Put a comment down so that I can find out. Also, if you like the smell, let me know what it is that you like the smell for. And if you haven't sampled it yet, after watching my review, are you curious to smell it? Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.